Okay, we're talking about single and two-sided presentations. Very simply, what is a single-sided presentation? You present how many sides? One side, okay. Two-sided presentation? Two sides, all right. And so, which is more influencing? I kind of gave you a little heads up on that. The single-sided presentation is effective with, let's hope that's not our case. Probably should say the less intelligent, not the unintelligent. But it's easier to follow a single-sided presentation, okay? You don't have to think much. You just kind of absorb information, okay? It's probably not the best choice of words right there. The authoritarian. People that are into both the presenter as an authority and the person that is listening that likes authoritarian structure. In other words, people that say, tell me what to believe. Make it easy on me. Anybody ever been tempted to say that? I've had people say it to me, just tell me what to believe. Well, I understand that frustration. That doesn't mean that you're necessarily authoritarian, unless that's kind of all of life to you. You know, and there is some security in that. One of the reasons why cults have the following that they have is because people are willing to just surrender their lives to whoever, so they don't have to think about it or be responsible themselves. Okay? So if you're kind of into the authoritarian structure, tell me what to do and I'll do it. I don't even have to think about it or question it. That's kind of the extreme of the authoritarian structure. And those who already agree. You know, if I'm teaching something in here, probably unlikely, but if I'm teaching something in here that everybody agrees with, you know, it's just what we believe. There's no real need to do a two-sided presentation, is there? Okay. Two-sided presentation is more effective because the presenter sounds objective, even if he's being subtle or covert about it. He sounds objective, and so people like that. I like that. My personality, my thinking, my quirk, whatever you want to call it, when somebody comes on too strongly, you know, and they're kind of ramming it down my throat, this is it, there's no other way, you cannot begin to think of anything different than what I'm telling you. You know where my mind goes? Bet it can. I'm not saying that's good, but I just, yeah, right. And they lose credibility to me. If they're afraid for people to think about the subject or the topic, I think they lose credibility. It's like, oh, you don't really believe this, because if somebody really thinks, you're afraid it's going to fall apart. Okay. Now, that may not be true, but that's what I tend to think. So I like the presenter to sound more objective. It's more effective to persuade those who disagree. If I were presenting something to you that you strongly disagreed with, and I just gave you my side, I would have better opportunity to persuade you if I took what you believe and compared it to what I believe, and we kind of looked at it, studied it. Well, here's the strengths, weaknesses, here's why, and it would tend to persuade somebody more with a two-sided presentation. And it's more effective with those who likely will hear the other side. Now, that's kind of a no-brainer. In other words, somebody that's got a little bit of an open mind, you know, I'm not real sure. I told you I have a lot of questions about prophecy, and of course a lot of people come on very authoritarian with their views of prophecy, and so I often kind of say, be careful. And but when I was contemplating having a debate at the church where I was pastoring, I would be one that could have been persuaded. You know, I was kind of open. And I can remember doing a biblical study one time that was very relevant to pastoring. my decisions that I made pastoring were very dependent upon the conclusions of this study. And the reason I did the study was I was facing decisions that had to be made based on what I believed. And I really didn't know what I believed, and honestly, I didn't even care. It didn't matter to me what the Bible said. I just wanted to know what the Bible said. I didn't go into it with a sense of prejudice, which a lot of topics we study, we do. We already have our opinion, our bias, whatever. But in this particular case, I really didn't care. So I just got all the resources I could and worked my way through the scriptures, came up with what I felt was actually ended up with some very strong opinions at the end of the study. But I was open. It didn't matter. If I'd have been sitting there listening to a debate between two people or somebody giving a two-sided presentation, I could have likely been persuaded to one or the other side because I was open to it. Okay? So that's kind of a no-brainer.